Am I live? I'm live. I'm live, and I'm live. Hello, guys. So today we continue with the flooring number with math, not floor. It's a random function, basically. And let's just go and do this.
Now we need to learn another method on the math object, and that is math.floor. Floor does is it takes some input number and then does something with that number, returns it so that you can store that in a new variable. For example, like floored number right here. That is the floored version of number. So I want you to pause the screencast, run this code a few times, and answer the question, what does math.floor do to positive numbers? And the reason I'm saying positive numbers is I don't want you to add negative numbers in here, because the mental model is slightly easier if you only think about positive numbers, and it's a bit easier to write a concise answer to it, in my opinion. And finally, I've never used math.floor on negative. Anyway.
Math.floor. Oh, so it's like not a function different than random. So I'm assuming this will return only integer and not a whole float like math.random. Let's just run this. It's 3, yes. 3 return int not float. All right.
Usually used on positive numbers. So try this. Feel free to add a few different numbers in here and run the code. And once you're ready, just type out your personal explanation of what you think math.floor does. Go ahead and do this right now. Now, the way I think of math.floor is that it simply removes the decimals. As if we run this, you see, returns 3. Have 12.4, 12. Even 12.9999999, still 12. Okay, so great job. With that knowledge in mind, let's move on to the next lesson.
All right.
Okay, so as a quick recap, math.random gave us a number between 0 and almost 1, and math.random times 6 then gave us a number between 0 and almost 6. Now we are going to combine this with math.floor, which we learned in the previous lesson. I'm going to add it here. I'm going to write math.floor and then wrap our entire previous expression inside the parentheses of math.floor. Now, what I want you to do is run this code a few times, then write down possible values, random numbers.
It's 1 to 6, right? 1 to 5.
There's a limited number of them, and your job is to figure out exactly which ones. Go ahead and do this right now.
2, 0 to 6. 0 to 5 to 6. I'm assuming it's only to 5.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, 0 to 5.
This range here between 0 and almost 6 and shove it into the math.floor function, then it will basically remove all of the decimals. And if we remove the decimals from this entire range, which numbers are we then left with? Just the whole numbers from 0 all the way up to 5. right answer was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Okay, hopefully you're still hanging on. Let's move on.
I'm still hanging on, man.
Our dice function.
We are getting into the more of the intermediate. We're working with list, array. We are working with list and random function, floor function. It's getting a bit harder, but still pretty much some basic stuff.
Okay, now we are going to complete our dice feature. Because we know that with this expression, currently get a whole number from 0 up to 5. How do we turn this range into rather a range between 1 and 6? It's essentially the same as a dice. And I want you to try this for yourself. Try to modify the expression so that we get a range from 1 to 6 instead of 0 to 5. Go ahead and give that a shot right now.
Modify the expression. I need to know what math. Oh, so we time it by 1. Time 1. Maximum times 7, but I need to eliminate 0. How do I eliminate the 0? Math.random. Oh, we plus 1. Easy. So it's only can be 6. Okay,
hopefully that went well. To understand what we need to do, we can compare each of the numbers here. That first number here is 1, and the first number there is 0. And how do we go from 0 to 1? We add 1. Same goes for all of the numbers here. How do we go from 1 to 2? Well, we add 1. And from 5 to 6, we add 1. So basically, what we can do is just do plus 1 at the very end. Then if we run the code, you see we get 2, we get 6, 5, 6, 2, 1. Yes, we indeed get the entire range of a dice. So, really good job reaching this far. Now I only have one last challenge for you. That is, create a function called roll dice that returns a random number between 1 and 6. So basically, you're going to take what we've done here and wrap it into a function and then return the result.
Function. Roll dice. And then put it in curly brace, return random numbers. And then call the function roll dice. Yep.
I didn't do that. Number only the fact. Instead of here, I'm just going to copy this line,
Yeah, or you can
paste it in,
basically
and then
put
return
random numbers.
like that. Now I have to remove it from up here because out here on line 2, random number isn't even defined. Can't log it out. Random number is now on call for reaching this far. This was complicated stuff, so if you feel a little bit shaky with this, that's totally okay. Okay, we're back at our blackjack game, and we are going to fix up this get random card function. But we'll do it step by step. So to begin with, I want you to make it return a random number between 1 and 13. So here you can pretend that we are working with the regular values that a deck of cards has.
11, 12, 13.
All
Alright.
The numbers from 2 to 10, of course, being their respective numbers, and then the jack being 11, queen being 12, and king being 13. So from 1 to 13.
See, like, this is why I like online learning. It's step by step, but then it's like, it's really detailed on like the part that like people is hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine, and like the thing that I like when studying online is that I can search Google. Like, oh, but in school, no, you should follow with like what the teacher say. Sometimes you don't understand what the teacher say. That's the problem. You're supposed to ask him, but sometimes you have to do it on your own, and then you don't understand. Yeah, that's why I prefer. I like online study so much. It's way better. It's better. It's more effective, and it teach you more. It teach you a new way of study. Make this function return a random number. Let random numbers equal it is a math dot floor, yeah, inside the bracket call bracket math dot random, open bracket, no, it's times 6 time this is going to be 12, no, 13, right? 13 plus 1, open another bracket, put plus 1, and then let's put this and then return random numbers. No, get random card. Alright, yeah. Why is it NA? NA. Math.floor, yeah, open bracket. Or do I do this? No, you have to put this inside a bracket. It's the operation. Random numbers, first card, get random card, function get random card, start game, win the game. I'm assuming this get random card is not, it's in here, and then did card I. Card's length. Yeah, we put it into this, and then some. Yeah, it's basically correct. Let random numbers equal math.floor. Let me try this. An A as well. Yeah.
Like this. Go ahead and give this your best shot, and then of course I will show you how to do it afterwards. Random, you're going to generate a number between 0.000 and a bunch of this one, and 0.999 times 13 is actually just 12.999, where we have a bunch of nines after that as well, so we're getting to something remotely similar. It's just a matter of how many nines we have after the dot. But this is roughly the range we're working with this expression right here. So we want to remove the decimals. And how do we do that? Well, if you remember from previously, we can use the math.floor function and wrap the entire thing inside of the parentheses of math.floor. So now we take this expression here, this one, and we then floor it, which gives you like that.
I didn't close the bracket right here. It's a function, so it always has to close bracket. Yeah, now I got it. So let's go. New cut. Yes. Yes, we got it. We about to finish it. That's I can tell.
And return. Now the question remains, how do we go from 0 to 12 to 1 to 13? Well, that's only a matter of adding a 1 to any given number. Just do it like that. That should return a number between 1 and...
Yep. Correct.
Actually,
baby.
The entire range. 7, 4, looking good. 10, okay, 13, yes. A bunch of other numbers. Way too many numbers here.
Yeah.
Great job reaching this far. Of course, we have to modify it because in blackjack we're not.
Guys, I want to hear Sue.
So we need to modify our function a little bit, but we'll do that in the next class.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's hear the Sue.
Now we need to change our get random card function. Because in blackjack, the jack, queen, and king are all worth 10, and the ace is worth 11. Or strictly speaking, the ace can be worth both 1 and 11. You get to choose as a player what suits you best is the value you use. However, for the sake of simplicity, we are just going to treat ace as 11 in our case, as having a dual value for this card would add a lot of complexity to our game, and it's not something I want to focus on. It's rather something you can, for example, do as a stretch goal later if you want to modify the game at the end of this course. So for now, we're going to treat our ace as 11. So this means we need to modify our get random card function. If the number it returns is 1, then we should change it to 11. And likewise, if the number it returns is either 11, 12, or 13, we should rather return 10. So go ahead and modify this function so that these exceptions are followed. We're going to have to define a variable that
exactly. That's what I did before.
That checks for these conditions and returns the appropriate value. So
yeah, you want to be.
I will of course show you the solution afterwards as well.
You have to be specific, but not too specific, because if too specific is going to make your code hard to read, and it's just make the readers looks like a kindergarten student. Make it specific, you can reuse stuff later on in the code. I feel like now, because I just did a variable called let random number equal this whole thingy. Yeah, +1. And then we call an if. We want to return this. Let's close this first. If random numbers. How do you write an if? Like you have to close this, right? I don't remember. It's a lot of syntax in JavaScript that makes it a bit harder. Not a bit harder, but more confusing. Like you don't remember all of this. Hey, you write if, you have to open bracket, and then you add curly braces at the end. I don't remember any of this. Just go online. If equal 1, return 11. Right, and then we copy the same thing. Else if, right? Else if. Go this. Random numbers is equal if 11, 13. How do you write that? If function Javascript, I have to see if it is this right syntax or yep. Else if condition 2 random number else if random numbers is equal to to what? Do I have to write 3 of this? 11, and then can I do this? Doop. No, I don't think I can. Specify a block code as specified condition is true. Switch. If lowercase will generate JavaScript errors. Use else to specify a clause to execute any condition as false. Blah blah blah. Also, a new first condition is false. Yeah, the harder part is this. Okay, we just do it the long way then. Return 10. And then we copy the same things and boop, boop. And then 12, and then 13. Now we won't have 11, 12, or 13, and 1 as well. Let's retry. Oh yeah, I want to return random numbers. Yeah, let's run this. Illegal. Not illegal. Start game is not defined. Am I right or am I wrong here? Oh, you put this inside this. Got it? Why is it 11, 11? If random number is equal to 1, return. Also, if random number is equal to 11, return 10. Also, if random number is equal to 12, return 10. I might be so wrong. What happened here? It's keep returning 11, 11. Why is it? If random number is equal to 1. Supposed to generate me 2 random cards. Right, the random numbers equal to get random card. Math.floor, math.random. Does if shut up, man. Suck my nuts. If this, else if. What is wrong here? What is wrong? If random number is equal to 1, and you return 11, yeah, that's pretty much right. You return 11. Also, if random number is equal to 11. 12, 13. Keep returning 11. This is only happen when its random number is equal to 1. But it's keep returning 11. That's weird. Weird. Let random numbers. Cards out L. Okay. Let's save this here and let's see what mistake I make.
Okay, hopefully that went well. If not, no worries, we'll do it together. First, I'm going to, instead of returning this directly, turn it into our random number. Like that. Then we need to write our conditional to account for these special cases. I'm going to start from the very top and check if random number is more than 10, meaning that card is either the jack, queen, or the king.
Ah, shit, I don't have to write this. That is why. Oh man, I'm so stupid. Random numbers. Else if, it should be else if. Larger than 10. Return 10. Why do we have a close bracket here? We need that. Let's run this. Unexpected and input and of input. Oh yeah, this is to close the get random. Still give me 11. Return. Let random numbers is equal to if random numbers Return 11.
So if random number is more than 10, what are we going to return then? Well, then we are going to return 10, because that is the value of the jack, queen, king. And I'm going to do else if. Now I'm going to count for the ace itself. For that, I'm going to use the triple equals. So I'll do random number triple equals 1.
Triple equals. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm assigning. Oh my god. Now I see why. This is assigning. It cannot be triple equals. Yeah. It must be triple equals. I'm so fucking stupid. Now I know why. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was like, how? Why does it keep returning me freaking 11? And now I know why. Now I know why.
And I'm going to return 11. Then in all other cases, else like that, in all other cases, it must mean that we have drawn either 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. If so,
yeah, we'll do else. Da-da, da-da, ha, ha, ha. Congratulations, you got blackjack, baby. Woo!
we're just going to return that value. So then we're just going to return the random number directly like that. Let's run the code. Start game. Okay, 5, 5. I hit a bunch of cards to see that we get the entire range, and indeed it seems that we does. We have a 2 here, we have an 11 here, and almost every single word in between. I'm 100% sure that if we continue hitting the 2 card in the long run, we'll just get random numbers across our entire defined range. So, great job. We're almost reaching the end of our blackjack game. You should really be proud of yourselves for reaching this far. This is starting to get advanced. There's even more to learn, so let's just keep up the pace and move on.
Keep up the pace. Keep up the pace. Bum 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 bum.
Okay, there's one really weird thing with our blackjack game, and that's easily exposed if we console log out the cards here at line 12, and then refresh the page. Here you can see I got 2 and 7, and the reason that's weird is because I haven't even clicked the start game button. I kind of just entered the casino, and the casino has already decided what cards I am to be dealt. That's fishy. We don't want that. I want the cards to be generated as I click on the start game button. So the first card and the second card should be generated inside of the start game function. And thus the cards and the sum also needs to be reassigned inside of the start game function. And also the is alive shouldn't be set to true by default. Before I've even clicked the start game button, I'm not alive. I'm not even playing the game. I'm going to use that as an example and set it to false first. Then inside of the start game function, what I'm going to do is alive equals true. So now we have the correct starting state before I've entered the game, line 6, and the correct value once I've started the game down on line 26. So what I want you to do is make it so that the same thing happens with the cards array, because it should not be set here, and the first and second card shouldn't even be defined up here, and the sum should be 0 by default. So this is how the state of the game is before I've started playing the game. Now what you need to do down here at line 23 and 24 is generate the 2 random numbers, then reassign the cards and the sum variables so that the game will start. So you might find this a bit tricky, but do your best. There's no shame in trying and failing, because I will of course also show you how to do it when you return back to this cast. Good luck.
Generate 2 random numbers. What? Generate 2 random numbers. Huh. Generate 2 random numbers. Generate means not assigning. generate mean? Oh. Get random card, get random card. Right? Reassign the card and some variable. I have to listen to it again.
There's one really weird thing with our blackjack game, and the reason that's weird is because I haven't even clicked the start game button. I kind of just entered the casino, and the casino has already decided what cards I am to be dealt. That's fishy. We don't want that. I want the cards to be generated as I click on the start game button. So the first card and the second card should be generated inside of the start game function. Thus, the cards and the sum also needs to be reassigned inside of the start game function. And also, the isAlive shouldn't be set to true by default. Before I've even clicked the start game button, I'm not alive. I'm not even playing the game. I'm going to use that as an example. Set it to false first. Then inside of the start game function, what I'm going to do is alive true. Now we have the correct starting state before I've entered the game up here on line 6, and the correct value once I've started the game down on line 26. So what I want you to do is make it so that the same thing happens with the cards array, because it should not be set here, and the first and second card shouldn't even be defined up here, and the sum should be 0 by default. This is how the state of the game is before I've started playing the game. Now, what you need to do down here at line 23 and 24 is generate the two random numbers.
Generate the two random numbers. I see. So he delete the let's first card equal, last second card equal, and the sum now is 0, and the cards doesn't have a list. Right, random. Oh, last first card. I'm assuming this is first card. This is what you're supposed to do. Is equal to get random numbers. Get random numbers. Random cards. Yeah. Let's see. First card now is let's. I'm assuming this is like this. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about this, but according to what I understand, he wants us to do this, and then you want a sum, reassign the sum so that reassign the cards. Oh, so you have to push first card into the array. But first, sum is equal to first card plus second card and then, but first, before this, we has to push cards push. I have to see it again. I don't remember a lot of this. Push JavaScript string manipulation. No, not string. Array method. Can't document got element by ID. Blah 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 blah. Pop push, yeah. Fruits dot pop. Yeah, cards dot push. Item first card. And then how do you do? Let's pop in kiwis. And then can I do 2? root length, concatenate. Can I push two values? Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. All right, and let's see if it works. 10, 10, 4, 2, 4. Now whenever I click start, whoa, 23, 7. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. But I just need to finish this part. So this is right. You get a random numbers, you get a random card, and then card.push. I'm not sure about this one. Sum is equal to first card plus second card. This is pretty much right.
First, then reassign.
Let's just save this. What do I have here? None.
The cards and do it when you by defining first card and second card. Now we can set the cards array. First card.
Oh, what am I doing?
Second card.
You don't have to push it in, guys. You're just assigning it. Ah la la, ooh la la. Equal to square bracket, first card and second cards. Should be this, right? No, it's just this. Second cards. And then let's just go here and see.
And the sum again. And rerun the browser. You can see now it's empty.
Yep.
I'll see you in the...
I see. So it's not that complicated. I just make it complicated. See, now you can... Now if you click start game, it's extremely weird. Let's give you combination. D3, new cards, 10. And new cards. You are donezo. Oh, so it's give you two values. And then you cannot do that, right? That's cheating.
I'll see you in the next cast. The next thing I want to fix is our new card button because it's kind of broken. Let's see why. If I start the game and I get two cards and I draw a third card and a fourth card and I'm out of the game. At this point I shouldn't be able to draw more cards, but actually I am. I can hit it and I got another 10, so I'm at 34. It shouldn't be possible to get that number in blackjack. So we need to stop it when the game is over, and also if we refresh the browser, I shouldn't be able to start with just one card either, but I actually can. So there's two conditions we need to check. Both, I'm still in the game, basically 5 is true, and also I can't have blackjack either. Now this requires us to learn something called logical operators, which lets you combine multiple conditions inside of an if statement, so that a piece of code should only be run if multiple conditions are satisfied. So let's take a little detour and learn about logical operators in the next casts.
Logical operators. I remember this is like a and or.
Okay, let's
stuff like that.
Logical operators. Here we have
Logical operators.
Namely, two variables and a function, and the imagined scenario here is a course platform, much like Scrimba. And what we're trying to solve whether or not a user should get a certificate. That is, whether or not we should call this getCertificate function. Because the deal is, we only want to call this function if two conditions are true. And that is, has completed course. In other words, the user has completed 100% of the course. And secondly, gives certificate. That is, whether or not this is the type of course makes the user eligible for a certificate. Because you can imagine that very short courses doesn't give you a certificate. The course has to be of a certain size to award you with a certificate. So, what we need to do is figure out how we can check if both of these conditions are true, because then and only then do we want to call this generate certificate function. You could actually achieve this with the concepts you've learned so far by simply nesting if statements. For example, you could if has completed course equals to true, then add the body of the if statement, and then inside of the body you could nest another statement. If this certificate equals true, then you get two ifs inside of each other. And then inside of the inner if, you do generate.
You just say an and.
Now, from this code, yes, we are indeed generating the certificate. If we flip one of them to false, we are not generating. Because here, this condition was not a clunky way of doing it. Here, we can add another condition by writing a double ampersand, and then the next condition. Certificate equals true. This condition here is false, and with the AND operator, both of the expressions before and after the operator need to evaluate to true for this entire expression to evaluate to true. So if we flip this to true and run this, now it works. But it's much better to have it on one line. And a little extra thing we can do is actually omit because now what does this and this evaluate to? Well, it's simply true and true. And true and true equals, well, true. But as for now, in order to be explicit about the condition we are checking for, I actually want to keep these triple equals here as well. So one way to read this in plain English is if this is true and this is true, then run this code. Hopefully that makes sense, because in the next cast I'm going to give you a challenge so that you get your hands dirty with this as well.
Get my hand dirty, I like it. Ooh, la la. Yeah, kidding guys, kidding.
Okay, let's continue on with our course platform example. So in this challenge, you are to imagine that you are writing the code that is to be run after the student has struggled with the challenge for a little while. Or maybe the student has clicked a button and signaled to the platform that she is stuck. And we first want to check, has the student solved the challenge she's trying to solve?
Being weird.
And has the student any hints left? Because if the student has any hints left, she can go and open those hints. But if she's used all of our hints and she hasn't solved the challenge yet, then we are to run this show solution and just show her the solution. Obviously, it just logs out a string, but you can imagine that it would show the solution. So your job is to create an if statement that checks that both variables are false. I mean, these two variables. And then if so, run the show solution function. Go ahead and give this a shot, and then I will of course show you the solution when.
Alright, okay, let's do this. It's basic stuff. I just look at it. Has solve challenge equal true. This is, where's that sign? Just say n. This is why, because I don't know any of that function. What is it? Equal. Oh no, n. What is n? What do they call this? Javascript comparison and logical operators. Yep. Equal to equal type and equal value. not equal to blah 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 logical and dash dash or. Alright, right. Hasn't equal. Oh no, it's equal false. See? Stupid mistake. Then open parentheses. Run the solution. Show solution. Yep.
And you return back to false. So then we'll trigger on the true. Great job.
Great job. Now I know logical operators of or logical. The logical or operators. It sounds clunky. The logical operator of or, hey,
So
much easier to understand.
And operator, let's take a look at its close relative, the OR operator. What does that do? Well, it allows you to check if
Hello guys.
this
I see a lot of you guys in my life. Guys, I'm studying JavaScript right now, as you can see. We are at the logical or operators. Pretty nice. We started a few days ago, but now
If so,
we are going at a fast pace.
So if you're in a situation where you only need one of two cases to be valid, well then you want to use the OR operator. As for this example, it doesn't really make sense. It will now run since actually both of these are true. But if
The one of the things that I don't really like about like the operator in JavaScript is it start with some of this weird characters, and then it's equal to n. Just say n, and then n is n, and then this thingy is or. They both like need to be two of this, and then the not is just one. It's just one characters. JavaScript, take notes.
give certificate is false, it will also run, but that doesn't make any sense because if the course doesn't give any certificates at all, you're not supposed to generate any certificates regardless.
Let me check. No chat. I thought I don't have a double monitor, so I cannot read your chat. So I will answer it as soon as possible.
Imagine here that you're building Netflix and you've just launched this amazing new documentary, the Fire Festival. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's truly amazing. About a guy who creates a festival that aims to be the celebrity hotshot festival of the world, but just becomes a disaster. It's really good. After this has been launched, you probably want to recommend it to a ton of your users. And what you want to do is you want to check if the user likes documentaries or if the user likes startups. They don't have to like both, but if they like one of these themes, then most likely they will enjoy the Fire Festival documentary. So I want you now to try to use the OR statement, that is the two lines you can see here. You can copy them if you want, if you don't know how to get them from your keyboard. And you're going to use this to call recommend movie if either of the variables, like documentary or like startups, are true. I'm pushing you out on thin ice here. I haven't written a complete OR statement for you, but it works in just the same way as the AND statement, so
Alright. Create two Boolean variable. Like documentary. Create two Boolean. Likes documentary equal true. Just first set them to true. Do I have to create like this? Oh, I'm cheating a little bit, but because I don't know the like startup is equal to false. Use an OR operator if open likes documentaries is equal to true. Or like startup equal true, return this function called recommend movie. Oh shit, it's supposed to be this. Yep.
Cool. We can see we are recommending the movie. Even though one is false, flipping both of them to false. Now, if I run the code, nothing happens because at least one of them needs to be true.
All right.
Or this.
I see.
And if we make both true, run the code, then of course, good job doing this challenge. Let's keep up the pace and move on. What you wanna be at? Now you are going to take what you've learned about the logical AND operator and modify this new card function so that you only allow the player to get a new card if she is alive and does not have blackjack. So those are the two conditions that need.
Alright, this is easy. Let's call this if. I have to wrap up this inside an if. Let's call it equal get random card if open is live. Equal and does not have true. And does not have blackjack, has blackjack. So we have a variable called a boolean called has blackjack, true and false. Right here at the beginning we stated a boolean variable called has blackjack and is live, just trying to make sure it is this is false because you don't want a player who has a blackjack keep adding new cards. And then we keep all of this in here, right? Yep. Yeah, we are right. We right. We are right.
Filled conditional at equals to true. Card. So let's try this. We'll start the game. New card. 25. You're out of the game. Try to ask the dealer if you can please get one more card. Oh, nothing happens. Works. Brilliant. Really good job doing this challenge.
Hey, we are coming close. We are coming close to create a blackjack game. Blackjack game.
Okay, so our blackjack game is almost complete. There's just a tiny little feature I would like to add as well. Because if you've ever played online blackjack or poker, what you normally see is your own name and your credits or your chips somewhere on the screen. So what I mean by that is something along the lines of this. Like that. So you see your name and how many credits you have, or chips, or whatever. And this is nice because then it's possible to later implement the concept of winning, of increasing your chips, and of losing as you are betting or playing rounds, are critical components of any blackjack game. However, I wouldn't want to hard code it in the HTML like this. We of course want to represent this data in our JavaScript. That gives us the ability to change it. Now I'm going to just show you how we could do this to begin with, by first giving this an ID of player-L and moving the contents of it. Then in the JavaScript, we could do let player name here and let player tips equals 145, for example, and then we could grab the element player L document.get element by ID, passing in the ID we just created. Then do the player L.text content, which you know by now. Name, colon, and a space, and then a dollar sign, then plus the player tips, like that. If we now run this, yes, that we render it in the exact same way. However, now we've come into a situation his chips, which currently live in two different variables. What would make more sense in this situation would be to somehow combine this into a single
My bad, guys. My mom came in my room.
unity.
All right, let's keep going.
Objects come into play. Make more sense in this. Yes.
So basically, right here is he hard code the player.l -l into paragraph, and then we go let's player name, declare a variable, player name is equal to pair, and then player chip, basic stuff, and then we basically grab the ID, associate player L into the player ID, and then player.text content is just display what, display that stuff into the player L, which is equal to player name plus $sign and player chips. Yeah, basically it's like that.
Rendered in the exact same way. However, now we've come into a situation where values that are inherently connected together, like the player and his chips, which currently live in two different variables. What would make more sense in this situation would be to somehow combine this into a single unity. That is where so-called objects come into play. There's another data type which resembles arrays a little bit, but they are also different in fundamental ways. They are kind of also buckets where you store data. So in our case, we would perhaps want to create a player object in which we can store both the player's name and the chips. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You might feel a little bit confused as you see it, but over the next few casts, you're going to practice objects yourself. So, what I'll write let player equals open and close to curly brackets. You've seen these before. They're used often in JavaScript. When you see them in a context like this, after the assignment operator, they mean that we are creating an object. And inside of here, what I essentially want to do is add this data right here. However, you can see that something is wrong here with all these red lines. And that's because the syntax for creating items inside of our object is different from how we define variables. First of all, don't use that keyword in front of the names. And secondly, replace assignment with
what the hell?
And thirdly, just as we have in arrays, we separate the items with commas. We don't do that on the last item. Finally, here it would make sense to omit the player, as we've already used that name as the name of the entire object. Just rather do name, I'm not going to capitalize it, and chips, like that. Now we have taken our two variables.
This look like dictionary, and is it dictionary in Python? Because it's identified with a curly braces and like a key and value. So key is name, and then values is peer, and then key here is chip, isn't it? Right. Object and dictionary. A dictionary arbitrary mapping. An object is a special mapping from name to variable and method. What? What the heck? Speak normal language. Arbitrary Python object. Standard object or user-defined object. However, it's not true. A key. So it's not dictionary. It's not dictionary, guys. It's not dictionary.
Group them together in this little bucket, which we are calling player. And the way we now can refer to these values, here and 145, is by using first the object name, player, and then the given key. That is the name.
Key. Yeah, he just said key.
And its value. So the name is the key, and pair is the value. Also, chips is a key, and 145 is the value.
This is a dictionary.
So to replace player chips, reference to the chips inside of the player object, we'll instead do player dot scripts. Run
Nice,
this code,
nice. I like it.
we get the exact same result. You're probably a little bit confused now, so don't worry. if
That's
you
not
think this was
confusing
hard.
for me.
Over the next
I
podcast,
quite
we're
like
going
it.
to practice.
But the way how they write this, commas. Is it commas? Is dot dot? I don't know. But like the way they have, this is bugging me. It's bugging
Objects
me.
for yourself so that this becomes muscle memory and second nature to you. Let's move on.
It's a new language, but I feel like I would run into like hundred of like errors because there's gonna be a lot of syntax error for me because I don't remember any of this. Oh, function has to end with like bracket and like a lot of things, a lot of syntax, and this.
Store data in depth. And with that in mind, we'll know that objects are so-called complex data types, or also called composite data types.
Composite.
Numbers, strings, booleans, even arrays, in order to compose objects. So they often store quite a lot of data. They can even store objects within objects. That kind of nested data structure is not something you're going to think about now. For now, just think of it as key value pairs. And let's look this through the lens of a real-world example. That's always easier. So here on Scrimba, we represent our courses as objects. Here you can see the CSS Grid course, actually the very first course we launched back in the days, and it has a bunch of different data. For example, it has the title, the number of lessons, and the creator of the course, the length of the course, and the level of it. So let's actually translate this course into JavaScript, into how the data structure actually looks. So
See, this is like a brilliant way of promoting your courses, right? You try and make it into like the exercise as brilliant. I like it. Trying to like make your the what is it called? The material that you trying to market into a study material. That's brilliant because now people are not only going to understand this, they're going to remember it as well. Right? And now that, oh, I'm interested. Let's search for this course. But back to this. It's actually brilliant now. Now I forgot how to write object.
course equals open and close
Oh yeah.
brackets.
Equal.
Title,
It has to be equal.
like that. Title, colon, learn.
Because oh yeah, list is equal as well. Yeah, let's continue.
CSS Grid for free. Now we have one key value pair. Title is the key, and the string here is the value.
Hey, YouTube
That
algorithms.
is natural to represent as a number.
They actually recommend me.
16 lessons. Creator, which again is a string. That. And then we have the length, which while it says 1 hour here, it's actually not how we represent that data in our database and thus in this object. Break it down into minutes. So perhaps this course is actually 60 minutes. For the user interface, we don't want to go into detail that much. We round it to the closest hour. Finally, there's the level, and here it says intermediate. That's also one of those cases where the data in the user interface differs slightly from the data in the database. So our levels are represented from 0 to 3, where 0 is complete noobs and 3 are advanced courses. So the intermediate course, here we type out intermediate here, if this value is set to 2. Now, you don't have to worry about how our design, what we say to the user, differs from the underlying data. It's just something I wanted to give you a little heads up about, because it's very normal in real-world code bases. Now, it looks like we're kind of done here, but we're actually not, because there's a lot more data for a course actually represented here. For example, whether or not it's free or paid. That's a boolean. It's either true or false, like that. It's free, true. And
Like it.
this course is indeed free. And we also have tags.
It's free as well. See, brilliant marketing tactics right here. Oh, it's free. Now I'm even more intrigued.
You have the ability to add
Hey.
multiple tags.
I like it.
One course. You need a complex data type here as well as the value of this tags key. So, for example, this CSS Grid course has the tags HTML and CSS. So this is a very real world
Oh, so
example
you
of an
can
object.
include a list. You can assign a list to a key. You can make a list as a value into a key inside an object.
Now, if we want to access any of
That's
these
pretty
values
brilliant.
here, for example, the
Brilliant.
length, we do that through something we call the dot notation.
Pretty nice.
Dot length, like that. Console log out this, run the code.
It's
If we log out
63.
63. Of course, dot length goes back 63. And you've used this dot notation quite a lot actually, up until now. And even though you probably haven't been aware of it, you have been using objects all along. Like, what are we doing here? Console dot log. What kind of data type do you think console is? Well, it's an object. So just to give you one more example, let's say we want to log out this array here. Well, then we simply do force dot tags from the code. When we open the console, we can see that we're logging out an array because this entire array is the value that we get back when we ask for the tags. Now, one thing I want to point out before we move on, that you can replace this dot with open square bracket and then add a closing square bracket, then turn the key
That's nice.
into a string called bracket notation.
Bracket
Run the code,
notation.
you get the exact same thing back. Now, there are reasons for why you sometimes want to use bracket notation. We're not going to get into that right now because in the foreseeable future, you are not going to end up in a situation where you have to do that. So I'm just going to tell you now to use the dot notation. Simpler, it's shorter, less code to read, less code to write, very understandable. It's actually what most developers prefer.
Let's see why there is bracket notation to even more specify the key. The bracket notation. Maybe you have two tags with like, oh, maybe you have two lists. No, but that doesn't make sense. It's this tag. Bracket notation. I have to see that. Why use bracket notation? Yeah, when the property name is invalid. Huh? What? Bracket notation is used when the property name is an invalid dot notation identifiers. What? Test. 1, 2, 3. Not use dot notation. Oh, okay. When they atas. Syntax object property name. If the property name is a whole numbers, then we do not need to wrap the name inside single double quote. If the property name is double, then we need to wrap it inside a single double quote. Pretty nice, I guess.
If they get to choose. Now I've been talking for far too long. I want you to write code, of course. This is Scrimbot. That's what we're all about. So in the next cast, you are going to write your own object.
Yee! Let's go. We're writing your first object. Wow, amazing. Mamma mia. Senoritas.
One thing I like to do if I'm bored is to search for epic places to live on Airbnb. For example, castles, like this wish list I came across right here, which contains a bunch of more or less affordable
there's a
castles
castle for rent?
across Europe. So, for example, this neat-looking castle right here only costs $190. I mean, that's what people pay for like 10 square meters in a hotel room in central London. So, pretty cool. You can rent a castle for that same price. Anyway, the point being that they're on Airbnb most likely take advantage of the object data structure in order to store all of the data that they need to present to the user. So this can also
See, this this is why I like Scrimba as well. They associated, no, not associated. They explain how data works, and like a real application, and sometimes it's hard to like associate all this data with like all the data that like in an app, and this is nice and neat. This is brilliant. Like, it's amazing. Scrimba, highly recommend Scrimba, guys. If you're trying to learn front end stuff, highly recommend Scrimba.
Size for you, so that we can build up that object muscle memory of yours. I want you to basically create an object that represents an Airbnb castle listing.
Alright, so Airbnb castle listing.
One string, one number, and one array. It can contain a bunch more if you want to. If you want to go above and beyond. However, that's the minimum requirement.
Alright, so create an object that's castle. Let's do guest bedroom, 4 guests, 1 bedroom, 2 beds. You can turn this into like a rooms. The rooms is going to be a list, and then for here, private room in Galway. Oh, Galway Girls from Ed Sheeran. Pretty good song. Live like a king in my castle. Call this catch line, and then it's going to be a string. Review is going to be numbers, float, reviews, stars, and like night, stuff like that. Boolean. I can call it, is it in the UK, or is it like, no, it's not in. Yeah, it's nice. Oh, are they a superhost? Castle equal. But let's go back into this and do listing name equal. Call this San Guisto Abbey. San Guisto. Guys, I need someone to say the name of this. Guisto. Put it in San Guisto. Am I right? Guisto. Abbey. Abbey is a pretty nice name. Abbey sounds like a good name. Yeah. And then one boolean. Are they superhost? False. Have to here. I think it's this. Yeah, this is supposed to be that. Forgot this. Superhost true. And then this is 1 string, 1 numbers. Review. Oh, price. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Call this 190. And then an array, which is room. This is going to be, what is it? Two bedroom, 2 bedroom, 2 beds, and 2 bath. 2 bedroom, kind of write it like this. 2-bedroom. Two bath and 2 bed. Put it into string, it's easier to manipulate. Oh no, it's not easier to manipulate, but like 2 bad, 2 bad. Because it's the same type, I convert it into the same type. 2 bad. And then we go with 2 bath. Right. And then we log out at least 2 of the key using the dot notation. Wait, what? Oh, console log. Castle dot listing name. And we go with this, right? Can I do this? Castle dot root. Run this. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
Environment. And what about the Boolean? Which components here naturally lend themselves well to use Boolean data type under the hood? Well, I think the fact that 2 of these are superhosts and the third
See, hey,
a suitable piece of data for the Boolean
not
data.
too shabby.
Plus, you're either a super based inside of an array. Well, it could be that kind of bullet points here are arrays that are pulled out.
I got it all right. Pretty nice.
Featured selling points that Airbnb wants to list out. That's definitely images like that. Make that an array. And here we probably have URLs to the specific images. So it might be img/castle, like of many items. So
Oh, right.
log castle to move on.
I see. That can be a list too. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that. I didn't realize there's like a lot of picture in that. But hey, let's move on to this blackjack game. Blackjack game.
Welcome back. Now it's your time to render out the player's name and his chips on the page. So it's a 4-part challenge. First, you are to create a paragraph with an ID of player L. Then you are to move over to the JavaScript and create a player object here at the very top. Then you are to give it 2 keys, name and chips. Then you are to move down to where you are grabbing elements from the DOM, and then grab hold of the player L paragraph and store it in a variable called player L. Then you are to render the player's name and chips inside of player L. So, pretty big challenge, but you've seen me do it before, and you've practiced how to work with objects, so I think you're gonna nail this one. Give it your best shot.
First, we're trying to look for the one. Let's see if create a paragraph JS with an ID player L. Easy. P. Kit stuff here. Player L. Close this, and then we close this. We don't want to write anything here because we going to assign the player name and then the chips. Create the player object. That's players equal this, and call this name. Do I have to assign name in here? Let's just say my name, Tong, and then chips. And set the values. Okay, chip is going to be, how much do they usually, let's say $150. I need a commas, and then grab a hold of the player L paragraph and store it in a variable. Okay, this is player. Let's player L equal document dot get element dot id, open parentheses, call this is kid stuff. Now as we move on, this is kid stuff, kindergarten stuff, and then render the player name and player chip in player L player L dot inner text. No, text content is equal to player, right? Although we have to specify name, and then what do we do? Concatenate them plus dollar sign plus space plus dollar sign money mom na player dot chippers, right? We run this. Yes, we got the money. Start game. New cards. Oh shit, I just lose $150.
Then I will show you how to do it as well.
Let's save this.
Oh, here equals
Cookies, kindergarten stuff.
L need text content name. Now this is all set up. Let's run the project, and there we go. I've rendered it out. Great job.
Cookies, cookie stuff. Easy. Oh yo, why is it lagging?
Now that you've learned about objects, I want to tell you about a specific coding pattern that we've actually been using quite a lot here, but that we aren't going to implement from scratch ourselves in this module. But since we still are exposed to it, I want you to understand what's going on under the hood. And that pattern is to create functions inside of objects, something which we also call methods. Because let's say that, for example, we create another key here, which is say hello, and then a colon, and then as the value, we'll actually write a function, like this. We won't give it a name, it will just be an anonymous function. Inside, we'll console log is up. That's howdy in Norwegian. And now, if we want to invoke this...
Howdy in Norwegian? Hey, we should go on Tinder and use Ijan. Hey, that's nice, that's nice.
Player dot say hello.
I don't have Tinder, guys, but hey, if you go to Norwegian and you're swiping on Tinder or you meet some guy, Ijan, yeah.
Run the code now.
Ijan.
Indeed, we are logging Hyson to the console.
Hayson.
And now,
Hayson.
I want to show this.
Smooth, that's smooth.
Don't you think this syntax looks a little bit familiar? Like first a variable, then a dot, and then a function that you are calling with parentheses at the end. Because actually, the exact same thing we're doing here when we're saying document dot get element by ID and the parentheses, and here we're also passing in a value, but it's essentially the same thing. And also here down at math dot random, also the same thing. Math is an object, and random is a function on that object, also called a method. And even our good old friend console.log, exact same thing. Object with a method. So this is not something we are going to implement ourselves in this module, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. So that when I speak about methods, know that they are simply functions that are attached to objects. So with that, let's move on. So you have built your very first JavaScript game. Congrats for that. This is perhaps the first of many games you're going to build. Perhaps the start of a career as a game developer. I don't know. Anyway, give yourself a pat on the back. You have learned a ton. Actually, let's do a little recap so that we remind yourself about all the awesome things you've learned throughout this section. One thing which was key to our app and is key to basically every web app out there is the arrays. We defined a card array, and also you reassigned the array down in the start game function where you defined it with items. And then all the way down at the new card button, you also pushed to the array. So you are starting to get some serious array skills. Also, we worked with objects. Up here we created our player object, and the object, as you remember, contains key value pairs. Also a data type that is used in basically every single web app out there.
This is really
Third data type.
Bác ơi, nhỏ tiếng bác ơi.
This is really this project is really packed, but then a lot of knowledge in here, but you are doing it at the same time you're learning it. That's why it's feel like smooth. It's not like, oh, I'm going to throw you a bunch of stuff that you need to learn, and then, hey, now bring all of that and trying to make a game. It's not step by step. This is like, okay, study theory, do theory, do theory, do. It's not like, ooh, I'm throwing you a bunch of theory, and now you have to select up the fruit in the basket and then pick it here and then create like a milkshake. It's not. This is like so much better. Such a way better way of study.
You learned was booleans, namely the true and false for the has blackjack and is alive variables. We flipped them around, so we set is alive to true down here and has blackjack set to true down here, and thus creating kind of a state for our game. This brings us to the next important concept you learned, which is if-else statements that wrapped these booleans and so many other things. This is key. You cannot build apps without these kinds of conditional statements. The if, the else if, and the else are absolutely key in any programming language. And in order to make these else statements work, we used comparison operators. That's these guys in here, less than or equal to or triple equal. They helped us define the conditions as to when we wanted to render blocks of code in the if-else statement. Moving on, we also did logical operators and operator, which checked that both this condition and this condition was true in order for us to run this code in the block of the if statement. And something we also learned was the for loops. It was here in the render game function where we used the for loop to loop through our cards array and render out each cards. Again, for loop is one of those foundational things in programming because so much of programming is involved around data and doing things based upon the data. Whether that's rendering it out, making calculations, sending
Guys, if you are experienced
or just
buffering,
together, for example, it doesn't matter. It's
I'm
just
so sorry.
again and again. So I'm really
It's my Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is pretty bad. Yeah, it's not receiving enough video. What does receiving enough video mean, man? But
happy that
I'm
you
sorry,
learned it as
but
early as now.
there's nothing I can
Another
do.
useful tool you've learned is the math object. That allowed us to create this getRandomCard function by using math.random, which gives us a number between 0 and 1, and
Yeah, this is
math.floor,
packed.
which basically floors the number.
This is like, this take me a day. Not a day, but like more like 6 hours. 6 hours to do, but then I remember all of this. Like, it's so much better than school, because school throw you a bunch of
You built upon
theory.
your further knowledge of functions and learned how to use return statement functions. Because in this getRandom card, we had to return values, and that's something you didn't know before this section. There's still more things to learn about functions, so we'll definitely continue on with functions. In the Chrome extension, we're going to build a bit later, but for now, just be proud about the fact that you've come to the point where you can return values in functions. That's a big, important step. So, with all of these things learned, I completely understand if you feel that you're a little bit on shaky ground here and that all of these names basically just confuse you even
Right.
more. I don't think you should worry about that.
I like
I would have
this.
never
I
remembered
like
the
this.
difference between comparison operators and logical operators. When I learned JavaScript, what they are called doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you know how to compare two variables, for example, or
Maybe you guys are different and I'm different, but I find this kind of way to study is way better at school. Maybe you guys would be you guys would find school is so much better, but I feel like this is like probably the best way of study for me. Yeah, so
that you know
let's
how
keep
to
going.
create a true or false variable, whether that you call them booleans or true false, isn't something you should be too worried about right now. So even though this might look scary, try to not let it scare you. Focus on coding as much as you can, because over time these concepts will mature in your mind and become second. And
Yes, will
actually, on
mature.
that note,
It will hit puberty, and it will become a man. Like you get shot
you are
like
going to
me.
get some practice right away, because before we jump onto the final project, the Chrome extension, I'm going to throw a few challenges on you just so that we're sure that you really understand these concepts and that you build out that ever so important muscle memory. So let's go ahead and do that right now.
Wait, are we done with blackjack? Yeah, we are done with blackjack, guys. Blackjack. Hey, learn JavaScript for free. Alright, I think I will end the stream here. I will be back in like an hour. I have to get lunch. Alright, see you guys in the afternoon. We are 11:30 right now in the morning. This clock is incorrect, but yeah, see you guys in the afternoon, like after 1 hour. Yep. We finish our blackjack game, and now we are moving on to new things, study more, and then we will build some more complex game, or maybe apps, right? What? Why is my stuff? Mic. Pass audio. Oh my god, this disaster. Alright, I will end the stream here.